Oh, hey everybody, we are just going to get straight into it. This is an unboxing make along with me. So here I am opening a box. Ooh, hello there, maker. First of all, this is a shape cutter order I made myself. I didn't make the cutters myself. Okay, starting again. First of all, these are very well packaged. These are shape cutters from a business called Epic Burns, who are based in Perth. They are a husband and wife duo, and they create PLA shape cutters, which are 3D printed shape cutters. I am showing you right now the donut statement pack, which is 12 polymer clay cutters. Now I'm going to go deep into it and use all the shape cutters, and I'm measuring them. Okay, can't read that, so there's no point in doing that. Anyway, I ordered these from Etsy because one of the things that I want to do for you guys is really delve into some reviews on different products available for polymer clay makers. Shape cutters. Now, I'm pretty fussy about my shape cutters and I stick to pretty much the same brands, if I'm honest with you. That's just me. That's just how I roll. So I wanted to branch out, and so this is what I did. I'm just looking at the invoice right now. So this is $176.20 worth of shape cutters. Now, the total was $168. Delivery to Adelaide was $16.60. And so, yeah, then there's refunded I don't know what the refunded cost is. I feel like I don't know what that is. Anyway, so as we unpack them here, they are all really nicely packaged in tissue. They are all laid flat into these little boxes, which I think is fantastic. So in terms of packaging, great. It came with also, if you saw right in the beginning, this amazing little pamphlet, which I'll talk about as we go on further. But basically, it's an introduction to the shape cutters, and inside it has a recommendation. It says, we also recommend #FryClay on Instagram for both inspiration and some very detailed tutorials from a whole bunch of professional polymer clay jewelry makers. Now, FYI, if you didn't know this, I started FryClay and it is my little baby, and those bunch of professional makers are all my friends. So that's kind of cool. And I actually had no idea who Epic Burns was. I literally did a search in Etsy to find shape cutters, and I really wanted to have a go at just ordering some myself. Now, first of all, let me just tell you this. These are ultra sharp. They are easy to cut with. The edges are nice and clean. And this set here that we are using right now is the Flower Polymer Clay Cutters, which is a set of 12. Now, from what I've seen mostly on the Etsy is they're sold in sets. So sets of 12, 11, 14, whatever, different types of sets. And they're usually themed. So either donut cutters, moon cutters, wavy cutters, floral art, all sorts of different things. So I just was playing around, just got out some of my clay. It's all at 3 mil, and look how beautiful and smooth they are. I was pretty impressed. The only thing for me, which I think, and I think this is fair to say, yes, they're sharp. Yes, they're really sturdy. The only thing for me is they're a little bit, I would like a little bit more depth in the cutter. So a bit of a higher profile just to get it off the slab a bit easier. So the only thing I found was that my fingers, when I pulled them off the slab, were leaving dents around where I'm trying to pull them off. So if I can give any suggestion at all or any criticism, and it's not really a criticism, it's a preference, I would have liked a higher profile, and not even by much, I don't think. So they are really slimline, but as I say, very sharp, very easy to cut with, very sturdy. But you'll probably see it in some of the videos. You can see the little dents just around the outside where I'm trying to pull the cutter back off. So that's just like if I had a slab, and I'm very fussy, I like to cut really close in. And it just made it a little bit difficult to pull it out of the slab. So I don't know whether they've ever had that feedback. Like I said, it's not even really a criticism. It's more of a preference from my angle. But all the cutters are gorgeous. Now, some of the shapes I've already got. not going to say, like, so in terms of when you're buying a pack, that would probably be the only other thing, is you're not actually able to buy the cutters that you want separately. You need to buy the entire pack, which is fine, and I think great for new people that are making, or new makers that want to start their collection of shape cutters. However, for me, who's already got maybe, say, 4 or 5 of the shapes in the pack, but I really wanted those 3 or 4 shapes, I had to buy the whole pack. I don't, again, it's a preference, not an issue. So I think that's a really a good way to explain it. I don't actually have any negatives about these cutters at all. It's more things that I think I would want purchasing in the future. Would I buy from Epic Burns again? Absolutely. They are Perth based, which I think is amazing because they're obviously Australian based. And if you go onto their website, you can read a little story about how they got started, which is really cool. And I think it's really cool to be able to see the background of the people that make shape cutters. So obviously, the world of shape cutters, when I first started making in 2014, 2015, this was not a thing. Like 3D printed shape cutters, not a thing. Like expensive, the machines were very expensive. It wasn't popular. We used to use stainless steel cutters, and there were a few suppliers like Jessima Tutorials or Clay Lady Down Under and people like that that started branching out into doing 3D shape cutters, and then obviously it just blew up and started going crazy around 2016, 17, 18. And now it's insane. Like if you put in shape cutters into Etsy, like a million things come up. So I just put a filter in that I wanted to have shape cutters from Australia for this particular thing. However, I buy my shape cutters from all over the world. So my next lot of shape cutters is coming from Singapore, from Outline, because I love their brand as well. And I'm going to try out a few more so that you guys can get a look at what's out there. Now, I've been talking over all of this. And I'm probably going to regret that because I feel like there's things I probably should be saying. This is one of my favorite packs. This is the Moon Polymer Clay cutters. There's 11 cutters in here. And I love the fact that there's just all these different shapes of crescent moons. Look at this one. So loving that. Love that there's like a random arch. Love that there's like some full circle, shapes, some little star shapes, some little planets, whatever you want to call them. Love that. So this is a really cute pack. I think it's got everything you need to make earrings, as in you've already got a topper, you've got your medium shapes, you've got little dangle bits that you can hang off them. So you have got a really good variety of shapes in this pack. Okay, so also throughout this video, you're going to see the different ways that I cut with shape cutters, which is either burnishing my slab to the tile, which just means putting a piece of paper over it and working the clay so it sticks to the tile. And then you have this kind of thing. I like to cut away the edges during that process because it's just easier and I don't like to leave it until I sand. So that's my preference. The other way is that I put a piece of paper or baking paper under the slab and I let the clay go in the cutter and press it out with my finger. So you'll see a variety of different ways. Like I said, this is one of my favorite sets. Now, let's talk about these beret cutters. This is a normal one that I have from Claytime Tools. And I just wanted to give a size comparison. So although these say 7 centimeters, I think when we're buying from Etsy, we don't often pull out our measuring tape and think 7 centimeters. So for me, I feel like these might be slightly too big and I would have liked to have an option to have a smaller size because these are really cute. However, as I was sort of thinking that, I was like, maybe these would work. So I am actually going to use these and give it a go as an actual beret. I'm nervous that they're slightly too big, which is the thing that I was thinking. So I do feel like it would be good to have the option to have a smaller size in the berets so that you can choose whether you want a bigger beret or a smaller one. Is it a beret or a barrette? I don't know, and I think I should stop talking now. This one is Floral Arches, and I adore this, and you're going to see me using this soon. So, yeah, love this. Cute. Okay, what are we doing here? I don't know. I'm using up all my scraps to cut these out, so trying to make it look cute for you guys, but really I don't know what I'm doing. What I do love about this set is that the little wavy pieces match up to the arches, which I just think this is one of the bonuses of buying a set of shape cutters, because they're really well thought out in different combinations just from the one set. So like I said, this is floral arches. There's 14 polymer clay cutters in this set, and I think they're fantastic. It is $25 Australian for this set. Look how many options you get, and you could keep going. Now I do cut out a few extra pieces just to show how they could go together, but I think they're fantastic, and I feel like I would use these quite a lot. Now this one here is the abstract polymer clay cutters, and there are 18 cutters in this set, and it is $32 Australian. Now look at all these cutters. Oh, look, she laid them out cute. The pink cutters are the mirrors, very handy, and the little colored cutters are for cutting inside. So like if you want to do different types of donuts and things like that, I think. Oh my God, I'm probably wrong. Okay. Also, just FYI, that clay is Sculpey 3. And the reason it's Sculpey 3 is because I had some sitting in my drawer, and I'm not going to be really using these for anything, so I thought I'd use it to cut out. Now, considering the fact that it is a very soft and difficult clay to work with, these cutters slice through like butter, my friend, like butter. I definitely have the opportunity right now. I'm going to go back to what is in the little flyer and booklet that I opened up right in the beginning that comes with every order. So there's a section in here that says hot tips, and it's got advice on conditioning your clay, how to work with hard clay, how to work with soft and sticky clay, sticking it to the tile, sticking it in the cutters, and messy edges. I just think it's really thorough for a shape cutter brand, or like a shaper brand, to actually send information like this, just in helping in general. I think it's great. So the couple is Nadia and Clive. That's the husband and wife, of course. Like I said, I didn't know Epic Burns as a brand before I just did a little shop on Etsy. And isn't it funny how you can connect in different ways? Like, as in, they probably follow Fry Clay and have gotten lots of advice off there as well. So I just think that's really cool. And yeah, on the back is also their information, their website, their top tip, and I think their top tip is fantastic. It says, try out new cutters on some plain clay first. Don't make a beautiful slab to cut from the first time you use any kind of tool or technique. Please avoid this temptation. I learned the hard way. There were tears. Can I say, no truer word has been said. Also, quickly, while I'm doing this talking, let me just pause for a minute. So the shapes that you can see here, I used icicle. See these little red ones here? They're really difficult to get the clay out of. So I used the advice in the flyer and used a little bit of alcohol, which is icicle there, to actually spray on the cutter. So I sprayed it on the cutter, or you can dip it on the cutter before I cut out, and that is what worked perfectly to let the shape cutter out. Just wanted to let you know that the little flyer has a lot of tips in it. And when I was struggling, and I don't know if you saw that, I was struggling. Now we're getting into making a slab, and yes, I'm using Sculpey 3 because that is what I had, but it has been mixed with about 3/4 of pearl, so it is actually not just Sculpey 3 by itself. Now this that I'm putting on the top is the beautiful mix that I show in my 1-to-1 YouTube video for color mixing, and it is grey granite with white. So I'm going to show you just a very basic rip and tear technique, which is what we refer to it as, where I am literally just making those colors of clay super thin, and I am ripping and tearing and putting them on the surface. This color is a peachy apricot color, and I have to be honest, it is scrap clay, so I do not know what the color mix is. I can't help you there, but I'm sure you will find. Actually feel like it might be out of my 1-to-1 mixes anyway. Go and check out that video. It's on my channel, and there's lots of mixes that you can use that would be perfect in a slab like this. Now, the slab that I'm working on right now is about 4.5 mil. Oh, actually, it's probably about 5 5 mil. So what I do is I have my clay machine set up to 3 mil these days. It's just easier. I still use, and as you will see, when I roll down a slab, I always use my guides, but when I'm prepping a slab, I just chuck it through my machine because it's easier. And then what I do is I fold it in half and I roll it down just a little bit. So this is about a 5 mil slab that I'm working on, keeping in mind I'm going to be rolling it down using my depth guides to 3 mil. So I'm just doing this a little bit so I can see whether I feel like I want to add anything else. And I decided I needed to add black. And you can already see within the first few seconds what a pop of contrast that does. And it changes the whole look of the slab. Another thing that I love about this slab, guys, is the gold. When you look at the gold with the mica shifting in it, it almost looks like it's 3D, like it's standing off, well, not standing. Like it's floating on the slab, you know what I mean. So adding this little pop of black is perfect. I didn't want to add any texture to this. I feel like the granite and the metallic gold gives it the texture that I'm looking for. This is how I roll my slabs down. I have an extra long stainless steel roller and I have pro length guides which are longer than normal, which allows me to make a nice big slab. This is how you roll a slab down. Do not put it through a clay machine, guys. Because if you do that, your slab won't look like this. Okay, we're going to pull out our brand new cutters by Epic Burns and we are going to cut up the slab. Now the slab has been burnished to the tile. So as we cut, oh yes, they cut so well. As we cut, it is sticking to the tile. So we'll obviously do a skeleton pull and pull back that slab after we've got the shapes that we want. So what I'm going to do is just cut out a variety of different shapes, and then I'm also going to show you another cute little slab, another couple of slabs actually. Do I do two? I think I do two. That will just, you know, hopefully get you inspired, give you some ideas on simple things that, I don't know why I did this. I did like a half skeleton pull. What's that about? What are you doing, Cherie? As you know, it's a journey when you watch my YouTube videos. Also, great tip for you, if you have cutters that are in little collections like this, a paper cup is fantastic for storing them in your drawer. If you can't hang them onto a hook. However you like to store your cutters. I have some of my favorites in front of me hanging up, and then I also have some in my drawer. And yeah, a paper cup's really handy because you can just like pull it out when you need it, you know, and keep them all together. So less plastic to store your plastic. Oh gosh, who knows. Anyway, love these little cute little flowers, perfect for studs. Then I actually think I find a way to use them as like a little tiny mini dangle, and I get excited about it. So yeah. Just one of the tips that I have for you when you're doing a rip and tear slab like this, it's always good to make sure that you have a little bit of color on everything. So make sure when you're putting your colors down, like you're ripping and tearing, just make sure that you think of it like a pizza. You want a little bit of topping on every piece. So make sure you equally sort of go right out to the edges and don't leave big gaps, because otherwise you're just going to end up having a bit of a struggle when you cut out your shapes. Now, what are we doing here? Okay, so we're getting them all. Okay, all right, yep. And what I'm also going to do later in this video, because this video is loaded, guys, loaded. So enjoy. We're going to use this little skeleton to make something else. So one of the fun things I like to do is to show you how to use your scraps over and over and over again, making sure that you cut out the mirrors as well. So like if you use one of those shapes that has a pink shape that matches it, that is a mirror. Now, there is nothing worse than earrings that go the same way. And when you lay them down and you can see they're not symmetrical, they need to go the opposite way, like a mirror. Okay, so obviously with symmetrical shape cutters, you don't need to worry about that because it doesn't matter which way they go, they're going to look the same. Whereas if you have patterns like those three little waves, or I'm not quite sure how to describe the one that I really like, which kind of looks like it looks like a B shape, and then like also could be a pregnant lady as well. But I like to think of it as like a really cool organic vase shape. So that's what I'm going to go with. Now, I decided that I wanted to have some different types of things. So again, we're ripping and we're tearing and we're making some cute little organic stripes. I only use this for a few. a few little components, but I thought it was really fun. So if you're doing something like this, make sure you just roll it the same way you want the stripes going. Like, don't roll it the other way, because otherwise they'll spread out the wrong way. So lengthen, not widen. Is that not even technical? I just wanted, that's the shape that I was talking about. Looks like a bee one way, but also looks like a pregnant lady the other way. But in my sort of visual, and what I'm seeing creatively with it is it looks like a organic vase shape with a flower on top. For some reason, I'm a little bit addicted to vases and flowers right now, and that's why I think I love this so much. It's been so long since I've actually purchased shape cutters that are different to what I normally use. Now, look, I do already have a lot of these shapes, like the round shapes, some of the leaf shapes, the donut flowers. Like, I have those in various different sizes from different shape cutter makers, but I don't have some of them, and so I guess that's kind of fun. Like I did say earlier in the video, these are sold in a set, which may not work for every maker. I do think they're great if you're starting out and you want to get a bunch of shape cutters to try out. It's an easy way to buy them without having to choose sizes and things like that. But I definitely have to say the option to buy some of the certain shapes that I really like in different sizes would be awesome. So maybe that could be something that they look at in the future, which would be great. So for example, like even those little wave things, it would be cool to have those in a few different sizes. But again, like, just let me preface that this is totally personal preference. And coming from somebody that does have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cutters already. So if you're new to making with polymer clay, then having a variety of different shapes in a set is fantastic. Not having to think about sizes and having them go together so well like this, perfect. So while we're talking about shape cutters and sets and all of those fantastic things, I just wanted to also say I decided to use this apricot peachy colour as a block colour to make the pattern slab pop a little bit more, and I think it's worked. So I'm really vibing a floral design at the moment. I'm liking vases, I'm liking scallop shapes, I'm liking all of the things that I kind of already like anyway. But I'm really enjoying using different types of slabs together, which is what I normally do. So like clashing patterns, block colors, whatever. I'm also going to add in another little slab, which is using the metallic gold, rolling it into a tiny snake. And we're going to do kind of like a polka dot / spot slab. And I have sped this up. So all I'm doing is cutting little slices of that snake off and placing them on the slab in randomized patterns. Now, if you wanted them to be extra random, you would pick that slab up and move it around so that your hand wasn't going the same way. Like you can see mine going back and forth, back and forth. And so all the spots are kind of in a similar, although they're random, they are sort of in that similar way, whereas if you move the slab around, it would be a little bit more random. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, what I love about the black on the gold is, again, it's another really good contrast to the design of the pattern, the wavy sort of ripped-haired stripe and the block apricot peachy color. So it's a great addition to this collection. Yes, cute. What we do is we roll it exactly like we roll a normal slab down. We are trying to get those beautiful spots nice and flat and amalgamated in so that they're not bumpy. There's no texture to the surface. And the great thing about the metallic, because the micas shift around so much, they can actually look like they're hand painted, or I'm going to say floating. It has that vibe for me. So make sure that when you're rolling it down that you pick it up and move it around so that the spots don't all just like sort of turn into long ovals or something crazy like that. So I'm just cutting a few colors out, a few shapes out. I make another little mini slab as well because I wanted more. So yeah, this is what I do with this. Now, if you have trouble with any of those little shapes, so those little flowers, I was finding a little bit difficult. I did spray a little bit of Isocol on the cutter to help the cutter come out of the slab a little bit easier. And it still got slightly stuck, but I just did the old blow the cutter. Like, if anyone hasn't done that, they're lying if they say they haven't done it. So when a shape of clay gets stuck in a small cutter, you can hygienically use your mouth and blow air into the cutter to push it out of the shape cutter. Maybe I need to do a tutorial on that. It is a method that a lot of people do. Make sure that they're your own shape cutters and that they're clean. Don't do this in a workshop setting or with somebody else's shape cutters, but it is a method that works to get shapes out of the shape cutters when they're stuck and you've tried everything. You don't want to poke them with like a needle tool or a dotting tool. So blowing air into the shape cutter works. So this is the finished product, the pieces that we came up with using 3 different slabs and the Epic Burn shape cutters. So I think they look great. Now, as promised, I am going to show you how I would use up the scraps from making these. So here are our skeletons from both the slabs that we have made. Now with the first one, I am literally just going to roll the full skeleton from the pattern slab into a kind of, I'm going to use my shaping tool, which is fantastic for this, and make it into like a little long rectangle. And that's what it looks like inside, but I wanted to add a little pizzazz, and my little pizzazz was going to be tiny little dots. So what you do is you slice it lengthwise and you pop little snakes right down the length of the slab, pop it back together and keep doing the exact same thing. So you can see that I'm slicing lengthwise, adding random little like snakes in there, the full length of the, did I call it a slab before? I meant the cane. And we're going to just keep doing that until we've done the entire thing. And this actually ends up in quite a cool pattern, and it's not actually like little polka dots or spots like you think it's going to be. It almost looks like stitches or like little thread patterns where you've like embroidered. That's how it kind of looks to me anyway. So we're just going to keep going. Now you could do this with lots of different colors. You could do this on a plain color as well. Like, it doesn't have to be scraps, but obviously this is a great way to use up your scraps. And it's really just giving you another option. Now, normally if I made something like this, I probably wouldn't slice it straight away, but I'm obviously going to slice it to show you. But I would just put it aside for when I want to use it, or I would take it to a workshop to allow my students to use them or use it as an example, whatever. But I do feel like it's a great way to use up a skeleton. And I'm also using the black that I'm using is from the black skeleton that we've got there. The other type of little cane or scrap cane that I'm going to show you is another really effective one. But as you can see, this looks so cute, and we're going to slice it up in a minute. So yay, fun for us. So all you have to do is squeeze it like this. Now I wanted to keep it about that size, so I didn't reduce it too much. And yeah, we'll slice it in a minute. Now, the other one that I'm going to do is putting all the scraps together and chopping them up into tiny little pieces, and also grabbing some other clay that I had sitting there, which was a scrap as well. So that was a scrap from the actual slab, so I chopped that up. It's like, I don't know. I was going to say it's kind of like just making, I don't know what I'm doing. Just chop, chop, choppy. It's like a choppy, chop, chop. Also, if you are going to add things in like black and colors, make sure you break them up so that you don't end up with big chunks. So I'm chopping the black up into little pieces and spreading it throughout. So all of this is scrap, and all we're going to do is squish it together. And honestly, this just distributes the color quite well. So we're going to roll again into a cane shape, and then I'm going to put it into like a rectangle shape. Oh, okay, we're cutting it in half just to show you what it looks like. But we are going to put it back together and slicey, and again, we're going to roll it a little bit, and then we're going to slice it and put it together again. So all I've done is reduced it down and put it back together. So that makes the pattern a lot more condensed and a lot more, oh, cute. Okay, we're slicing this. All right, she's in, she's happening. Just showing you what it looks like. Okay, great. Now we're going to put this onto a slab. However, you can totally just put it aside and leave it till whenever you want to use it. Because maybe you're sick of using these colors and you're like, you've had enough. So put it aside, put it in your drawer. Just make sure you cover it. It doesn't need to be airtight. It'll be fine. Or you can also put it on a slab. Now, I decided to put each slice a different way, because if you look closely at the lines on those slices, they actually are like little dashes. So if you wanted it all to go the same way, you could totally put the slices on like the same way. But I decided to change it because I'm that person and I wanted to do it different. And I fast forwarded because that was really boring. So for the base of the slab, I'm just using scrap. Now, also, when you're rolling this out, the whole point is to push each of those little squares together so there's no gaps. If you want to see how to do that in slow motion, pop to my pop art video. I explain it a little bit more in depth, but this has turned out really cute. Again, they're kind of not spots, they're more like dashes, but look, I'm going to say this is my favorite of the ones that we make out of these scraps. Now, I am going to describe this as kind of like a messy faux stone terrazzo vibe, kind of all sort of scrambled and mixed up. I love it. I think it's great. It's a perfect base for like having a silk screen over top of it, but it looks amazing just as it is. But anyway, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the new shape cutters, seeing me make 5 different slabs in this video, including the 2 scrap ones. So I hope this inspires you to make something really fun and creative and, you know, branch out and try some new shape cutters. Definitely recommend Epic Burns.